Another day, another shot to do things over again. The 2023 edition, M&J podcast. We are at it again, guys. And remember, follow us on all our platforms and give us suggestions on what topics we should talk about. The last time we had, I was with Mr. Roy here, and we spoke about very interesting things. And you remember the topics that we talked about, and we had the absence of Mr. Jerry, who was not around. What happened at that time, Mr. Jerry? Where were you?
I started my year at the retreat. I took a day of prayer and fasting, and I believe every human being and every individual has to have this time that is sacred between you and your Creator. I don't care if you're Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, or Jew, you have to have time that your spirit man connects with God. And this is the time that I had before you guys recorded that sinner.
Oh, that's good. Do you do that every year?
Yeah, funny you should ask. Yeah, last year what happened is that I neglected having this retreat, and I was locked up. I was behind bars for the most of the part, and I remember how Malo came forward with a loaf of bread and a bottle of juice in his hand, saying, "Jerry, I don't think you're going to make it out tonight."
That was a dramatic moment, because I remember coming there when you had hooligans behind your back, and it was a crazy scenery, man. Yeah. But it's good that you impact on that. Mr. Roy, we're back at it again.
Yeah, we're back.
We're doing it again. Appreciate it, a kiss. Hey, welcome, my guy.
Yeah, man, like usual. If I'm not with you, my church, this time I was on church, we had a crazy party.
Mr. Jerry attended.
Yeah, I attended, it was there. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, just a few.
A wacky party.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Was it 4.0? 4.0. Yeah, it was least actually.
Yeah.
We booked an apartment, and we had drinks, we had food. It was party all the way, and I think we had one of the moments of our lives. And I believe it was necessary that we do that, and I believe it was, just have fun on that day. I'm going to have Mr. Jerry introduce the topic. Today we're talking about different things and a different talk.
Today we're talking about love or money. What makes a relationship last long? Banks, please introduce us with what your thought is on love. Have you ever fallen in love?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yes, I have. Just maybe to pick it up, maybe try to summarize everything. Yeah, to summarize everything. So, right before this, I was staying with a woman.
Right.
Okay, there was a woman that I was staying with.
Tense.
Yeah, there was a woman that I was staying with. Yeah, she wasn't my girlfriend. In fact, she was way older than me. She was, I think she was like, what can I call her?
Yeah,
like,
mom figure.
Yeah, mom figure, something like that. Or she liked me. She was a tenor. Yeah. And she liked me because I was kind of one who was used to mind my own business. So I don't know how she got interested. It's like, okay, can I stay with this? So she had a permission. Can I keep this guy? Like, oh, no problem. No, you can stay with him.
But she asked your mom.
Yeah, she really asked my aunt. My aunt. And she was like, yeah, she was like, oh, no, I'm cool. You can stay with him. So like, okay. Then in the process of staying with a very woman, she used to bring different kind of men. And not any kind.
Affluent. Top tier men.
Top tier men. Yeah. Yeah. And imagine. But there was a surprising part. And the part was that amongst all these men, name the race, whites, what, they used to come through. But there was one man she called, this is my man. And the sad part is that, to my comparison, amongst all men, the very man she called my own seemed to be the broke. He was like the broke guy. Okay, he used to work for ABSA, I think, yeah, by then. But when you look at the comparison with the other guys, there was not much. No competition. So answering to this question is like, love money. Yeah, you can experience love minus the money.
So
but
Is it typical amongst women for a woman to love a man without money, or is it typical amongst men to love a woman without money?
And my response to that is it's typical of men to love women without money, but the other way around, not so much.
Yeah.
Reason being is because I believe that women get high above their rank, and men don't mind dating up or down. Yeah? And we have this analogy, we can make so many examples out of this scenery, and you've seen over and over again a woman cannot actually settle for a man who's lower than her for a long period of time. It's either she'll get fed up and just go like, you know what, I'm done with your ass, you have to go. But a man can actually stay with the woman who's like low value as compared to him with no problem. It's because of how we value, the value system of how we see like our mental aspect of how we perceive things. You see, men don't actually see things for is it fair, is it not?
Yeah.
As compared to women. Women see things, is it fair or not? So a man will not see that scenery for, fair. It's all about the benefits of what he's getting out of that story and stuff like that. You have two guys playing video games, one playing with a knocked out controller and the other one playing with the perfect controller. But when the game ends, you not see the other guy withdrawing the fact that it was a match where he lost. You maybe vocalize and say, my controller had this button which was not working, but you not leave away the fact that the game was played and he lost. You accept the fact that he lost. But for a woman playing that video game against a guy, or vice versa, women playing together, the woman will say, no, there was no game because I didn't have a fair share, a fair chance to win you. There was no game there. So meaning this game will rule out until I have a fair controller to play with you. That's when we'll call it a game. So this game will rule it out. So you see that mental way of seeing things in women, to say that they are unable to see perspective in terms of value. They only see security and fairness. That's my thought on that,
I think I have a story in relation to this money, love. I loved this girl once when I was a very broke man. I had literally nothing. By broke, I mean flat out broke. You don't have bus money to go and see your girl. You don't have money to call her after you come back from seeing her and say, hey babe, I've just arrived safely. I was so broke that in order for me to see her, I would make plans a week before and say, listen, at maybe 15 hours, we were going to meet at the Monk Square at the University of Zambia, and she understands the dynamics. She understands. She was a girl who was able to understand my position as a man and accept it. Now, I discovered that to me, I fell in love because she was loyal to me, even when I had nothing. The true test of a woman's love is seeing when she loves you when you have zero, nothing to offer. The true test of a man's love is when you have everything, and out of all the other women, the man will choose you. She chose me, and I felt I was loved. Until one day, the guy from Canada came.
Zambia, but Canada.
Oh yeah, he was a Zambian guy, but then he had a Canadian education. He just had a Canadian lifestyle. He came. He was driving a big Pajero, the Mitsubishis, the ones that
And they were driving a convoy.
Yeah.
His sister driving the other one, and he's following in front. Not that they're going to the same location. You must understand the dynamics. These are V6 engines we're talking about. They're burning not petrol,
This reminds me of something.
Gentlemen, we have a salsa class that happens every Thursday, and they would drive in a convoy.
And you think it's a mini Stabwela?
The mini Stabwela,
Definitely kids except Some kids.
This Canadian boy has the audacity to take my one and only girl and take her to a dance class that I have all my friends, all my peers, all my boys with me. And he goes there and he holds her hand onto the dance floor and leaves the dance floor with her. My friends call me. They say, Jerry, what happened? Your girl came over the dance class with another boy in a big car. Do you know how...
Big shack.
Do you know how The pain that I felt was like a hot knife cutting through my chest. I felt betrayed.
I saw the pen. You cried. My God.
My brother was here by my side, and I looked at the previous night. I took her out, and I looked
You had bought a bottle of wine.
all the money I had.
Yeah, I had bought a bottle of wine and stuff after I started earning some bags.
And
he did his best.
I did that.
No, you took out the rooftop, right?
I took out the rooftop at the Shrover premiere, and
Yeah.
we danced with her there. It was a magical moment. And I remember holding my phone in my hands, looking at it and crying because she betrayed me. She betrayed my trust. She betrayed my loyalty with a guy who had money, who had access to a car, who had access to a mansion. And he actually fucked her. She told me later on.
Did you ever?
Yeah, I confronted her about it.
Did you
and
ever get with her though?
No, I didn't. From then I actually confronted her, like, what
Before
really,
or after? Did you ever get
like
with her?
smash,
later?
like. No, I didn't.
So you did that, which you couldn't manage. You didn't manage.
I didn't manage. In fact, I was a virgin until then. I lost my virginity when I was 25 years old. But the thing is that I was very good at women before that time. That most women thought I was not a virgin because I was able to make a woman come just by my fingers and have her satisfied. Yeah. But then this was some of the things that I had to overcompensate because I was broke.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain things that you have to do for a woman in order for her to be around because you have to satisfy her sexually, emotionally, give her the roller coaster emotions that a woman definitely needs, and I was able to provide that for her. Now, long story short, I discovered that I had to be rich, I had to have status, I had to have money in order for me to attract a certain type of woman and retain the woman. So money and love are an equal composition in order for a relationship to last long. Mm-hmm. That is my analysis from the story.
And you know that analogy that you gave, where you came to the realization that you need to have financial stability for you to actually make it right next time when you get into a relationship or whatnot, leads you to think that I've lost the track of thought that I wanted to say. But Mr. Roy, you can pick it up as I'm thinking.
Okay.
Oh my.
All right. So it's like Mr. Jory said. It's like a balance of everything. Okay. Because just like, okay, this thing is like, oh no, this is how I even call life. But in this love and money, it's like when you're in a relationship, it's like a goat chain. You feel me? It's like a goat chain. So it's like if any end of the chain is cut, it affects everything somehow, somewhere. Okay? All right? So it's like when there is no love and there is money. So it's like the absence of the emotions and stuff, they won't be in. So which meaning somehow, somewhere, there will be a loophole of a problem, or there will be a problem somewhere, or there is a problem somewhere. So to all in all, I feel all these things are needed in a relationship. To have a stable one. All these things are needed. Money is needed as much as love is needed. All right? Because if any of the two will be absent, then there will be a problem somehow in the long run. Okay? In the long run, you need both. If it's just playing around and stuff, yeah, and if you be broke, people will stick around maybe for quite a time. It's not something that is serious, but if it's something that it is a long run, you need both.
True, I would say not both, but you need three actually, and self-worth. You see a lot of men that do not have the self-worth of knowing themselves, you know what I mean? It's either you do everything and you have to overcompensate, like Jerry, you said you had to overcompensate by doing all this, going an extra mile. But you see, it's not like she doesn't see the extra mile that she's taking and she doesn't appreciate or value. It's hard thinking long term to say, is Jerry able to take care of me when I'm out of uni? No. But is this other guy able to provide? Yes. Security? Yes. Yeah. Jerry, emotional excitement, spontaneity? Yes, he's able to provide all those things. But long run, this guy. So if I'm weighing the two, I think a girl is more she's going to choose more security, more, than she would choosing love for long-term relationships. Because our friends will think, security. They're designed to think like that. Whereas the man would not think about the security, because you just think of, I'm in love with this girl, I need to settle with her. She's broke and stuff like that. I'll make it work. My pocket will make it work for the both of us. You think like that, right? So I believe men should reach a stage where the school system doesn't teach us that, but we should reach a stage where we start working on ourselves more and learning more about our value, so that when we go in relationships, we have what to offer. Not only are we offering money as compensation, we're offering solutions to the problems that will be faced in a lot of scenarios where maybe a lady needs guidance and you're there offering those solutions as an alpha male who's showing direction. How is she to follow you if you're a man who doesn't have no direction and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how you're able to bring it out. I think statuses of self-worth, understanding who you are as yourself is critically important. This is what I learned. There was one time that I was doing an analysis of why women date up, like you earlier said. So there's a concept called hypergamy. This is essentially dating upward in a social strata, either in your economic class or in your religious class. Now, women will always say, I need a man who's tall, dark, and handsome, and makes a ton of cash, and has no kids, and lives alone, and drives a car. These are indicators that us men have to meet. Now,
the modern standard of dating or mating.
In the modern day, these are the things that they want, and these are hard to achieve. For you to established, it's incredibly difficult.
Most especially if you don't have parents who made it easy, the ground easy for you. That like you don't have what do you call it, like
inherited wealth.
Inherited wealth, yeah.
If you don't have an inheritance, oh man, you have to start from scratch. Literally, Wayamba Foundation was Imangila. You started by yourself, and this is the reason why I would always say trauma is necessary for a man. It's going to make you build a backbone that is strong enough to overcome the vicissitudes and the dexterities of life. That when you come out strong, you have a complete self-worth and identity. That even if a woman stands to you and says, I don't like you, you're not fazed. You know who you are. And that's the reason why I've been a poor man and I've been a rich man, and I chose rich every fucking time, simply because I knew that the woman would always go at the finish line and choose the winner. They would always go at the finish line and say, I want the guy who's able to drive a Pro White Mark X like myself and wear a very expensive suit and have a beautiful smile, because they know that for a man to get to these things in Zambia is incredibly difficult. Having said that, they go upward. Either in dating, they need a guy who's tall, either a man who's got money, a guy who's independent. They have one very, very important thing that they choose. But they don't understand, even us men, we want something from them.
True.
Now, what is the thing that we want as men? We're asking for very simple things. We're asking for chastity, purity, a girl who's got a very low body count, preferably a virgin, but of course now we can't find virgins. We want a girl who's very loyal, who's... Yeah.
Who, virgin?
Virgin. It's hard to find. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're asking for a girl who's got chastity, a girl who is loyal. When you tell her, don't go out to the club because I don't like girls that go out to the club, she stays at home, seated at night. We want a girl who's able to be submissive. When we say, hey, listen, make me a cup of tea, and she makes a cup of tea around the table. There's one thing that happened one time. Malo was dating a beautiful German girl, blue eyes, incredibly tall and attractive. There was one time she came over to the shop and she brought us a plate of fish, dry fish, and she brought all the boys. And there's one thing that Malo didn't even notice at that time that we had noticed. We had this respect for him as a man. Because we know that for a woman to come and serve us, not only an ordinary woman, but an incredibly attractive woman to cook the food and bring it to the office, it added a certain...
She bought the food, actually.
Yeah, she bought the food. Yeah, but then, hopefully she cooked. But then, the status that it added to Malo, we don't look at him at the same way in the workplace. A workplace full of guys and the madame, it's something that we admire and aspire to be. And it was not only an ordinary woman, a Zambian girl. She was a German girl who understands nothing about the culture of Zambia, and then she does that to him. We look at Malo in a different way. That's the status that we look for. The reason to why men go out to wars and die and kill themselves only for a medal, a piece of ribbon on their chest, it's not because that they want to sacrifice their lives. It's because of the status. The world is going to look at this man. He survived the World War II.
He's a hero.
He is a hero. He deserves it. This man was able to bring down a very feminist German woman, bringing us food. This is our hero. You don't understand how important these things are to us as men. Women women think what they need to do is know how to suck dick or give us the best position in bed. So those are the very basic things that we want. We want you adding status to our lives. We want you being pure. Not anybody else can get you. You are extremely attractive, but nobody has ever tasted or sampled you on a date. That's the indicator of what we call a very rare jewel, a very rare commodity. That's the stuff that we want.
But my thought on that as well is to extend the thought, or maybe just broaden it more, is, you know, we're not entirely the victims in this story. We have a lot of men that don't know how to use their superpower. I'll call it the superpower. Where maybe they may be attractive studs. They were just born that way with good genetics, but they're unable to make someone fall attracted to them from ground up. All their lives they just had to walk. So they never have to. Even when they grew up, you know, the girls in the compound, they go, there's a girl who likes you. Oh, none likes you. They never had to work for anything. Now, when they reach at that stage of their life where appearance itself doesn't cut it, where girls are now awakened, they're not only looking for an attractive guy to walk around with, they're looking for a stable man who's able to provide long term. Before I go further, look at all the other politicians that we have. Most of them have beautiful women in their houses. Yeah. Have you noticed?
Yeah.
Beautiful women in their houses. You know, why do you think that? It's because all those beautiful women chose what? They chose security. And you see all these politicians, most of them, I've never seen, I think one, it's rare to see a very attractive male politicians that got weird heads. They look weird, you know? Like, how did you get, you know? How did you manage to get, you know?
We're privileged to shout out names here.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But in all honesty, you see how these women, you're like, how did she end up with this guy? You know what I mean? It's all about, at the end of the day, she had dated maybe at uni, she had dated all the studs, and at the end of the day, she chose security over stud. You know what I mean? Because she knows long term, stud is not going to feed her, six pack is not going to feed or provide for her. You know, it's the money.
In the long run.
A long run. But not just the money itself will make the relationship to go an extra mile. It's the intelligence that you bring on the table as a man, your instincts to protect, your instincts to actually guide the woman to say, look, this is the way you can love me better. I also want to learn how I can love you better. You know what I mean?
Yes. And sorry to cut you short. You remember the time we were at there was a TV station that we were at that time talking about love. There's a good part that lady that really she emphasized that me and my husband we have sessions.
Exactly.
So we have a session where she asks him and they also ask her, what's wrong? What is it that I'm doing wrong? Okay? They have that session. Which is, when you look at it, this is where it's like you're putting yourself on a spot and say, why am I missing it? Because sometimes you may think you're doing everything right when you're doing things wrong. You feel me? Sometimes you're not even aware of the things that you're doing, not knowing that you're affecting your partner. So when you have this kind, it's like you know what you're doing. It's like, what am I doing wrong? And I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah,
it
true.
was one of
it actually blew my mind as well.
Like, what?
It actually,
in that situation, do you think the love is what motivated very beautiful communication, or do you think it's because of the money? Because the money comes from the husband. What do you think motivates that very?
I think it's a chain, as you were saying, to say everything intertwines into this one weave, which makes everything to work well. So it's a love. It's also the want, the need, or the need, the want to evolve. You know, because you keep on evolving as you're growing. It's like you, Jerry. I would say you're just an extension of time. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Extension of time, of existence. Like, for example, there was a Jerry yesterday who had this notion based on what you knew yesterday, or not yesterday, but years ago. Now you're this Jerry graduating towards an evolved creature. So the values that you have today, maybe tomorrow you'll not have, or maybe they'll upgrade to the point where you change to be a different person as compared to 5 years ago you, who only wanted a girl. You know, now you don't just want a girl. Maybe you want a girl who's going to understand you, who's going to be there for you. You know, it's like the standards just keep growing. Now you need a person in short who's going to evolve with you. You know what I mean? Okay. So, and wants to evolve with you. You know what I mean? Now, if you're in a relationship which is like only based on a woman only wanting security and she's not thinking about, long term, eventually she's going to reach that end where, what next? You know what I mean? We've got all the security, we've got all that. And the guy would have the simp of a guy who only tries to impress the wife by buying her things and stuff like that. The gimmick will lose its value at one point. She's like, you bought me everything, you know, but I still don't have the adventure in this story. I still don't have the reason to still want to stay. Or maybe the guy will grow fed up of a toxic femininity trait in this woman, you know what I mean? To the point where he will start venting his I don't want you anymore by overdoing things like just, maybe I'm a damage a neighbor. You know, he just that's the stupid thing so that maybe to get to the wife. Eventually the wife will file for a divorce, or maybe the wife will just go bored. You know, she's now bored with the character to the point where I just want out. You know, now that I have your money, I can go and be with Brocky Jerry.
Honestly, okay. Yeah, real quick. Is this what we're seeing nowadays? It seems like we're seeing billionaires now. Like, if really money is everything here, then why is it now we're seeing? Doesn't recently a nation billionaire, the wife filed for divorce. It's like, how is this? How is this happening? How? I really want to get your perception about this. How? Then how? Because everything is open. There's like, why? Why is such a thing happening?
Okay. I think I can respond to it in this particular. I think it's twofold. First of all, the law is in favor of women. We all know that when you go to the law and you try to divorce, what's going to happen is the custody of the children is going to be with the wife. Even though the wife was caught with infidelity, currently the law would put the woman with advantage over the custody of the children. You're going to be paying alimony, meaning every month you're going to be paying money to the wife for support of the kids until they're 18 years old. We also understand that the law favors the women because half of your estate is going to be cut off as a man once she files for divorce. So we understand that women have more to gain once they divorce a very wealthy and affluent man. Bill Gates, for instance, Melinda became a billionaire overnight. Not a single-digit billionaire. I mean a triple-digit billionaire overnight. Tiger Woods' wife, you know, she became a millionaire in the shortest period of time. You talk about Jeff Bezos. The wife became a billionaire in just a single divorce. One of the most lucrative businesses now is marrying an affluent man and then splitting his wealth. I'll give an example of why over 80%, according to the statistics today, 80% of women are filing for divorce. What are the reasons they're saying this? Because I'm not happy. I am not happy. I have provided a roof over your head. I have provided a bed for you to sleep. I've provided clothes on your back, and you tell me today I am not happy.
True, man. True.
Now, here's the thing that I find very demented about the psychology of the women that we're dating today. Is that, listen, in Zambia it's very different. I have to pay 50,000 kwacha for an educated woman to get married. I have to pay 150,000 for a fully fledged wedding. It means kitchen party, the entire wedding reception.
Sure.
Maybe more. I have no idea.
You have to hire the venue, the cars, and the food,
the photography, the videography. Now, everything will come to close to 200,000 kwacha.
200, are you sure? 500.
Maybe even 500,000 kwacha just to get married to a woman.
Yeah.
And then you find a situation like Daisy, this girl who's a celebrity who recently got divorced a year later. Wangeni someone alone. Obviously, will not just have 500,000 to get married to this woman, and she eventually says, "I'm not happy," and decides to leave. I have provided everything, and yet you leave me because you're not happy.
Yeah.
This is what we call a double standard. Why is the entire legal system supporting a woman because of her decision to leave the wedding, and I have to compensate her from the entire money that has been left out of the 500,000 kwacha loan that I made? You now cut my property in half by selling my house, selling my car, and I compensate you because you're not happy?
True.
Now here's the problem with this entire situation. When a woman decides to leave, like what happened, she's going to choose another man who's even more affluent, or she's going to stay single. What does that leave us men?
Get a Ben 10.
Get it.
You use that 10.
Yeah? Get a Ben 10.
She can.
She can afford a Ben 10. She had this is the concept
Ben
that
10 is going to offer that venture.
This is the concept that has been planted in the mind. It's been planted in the minds of the kids. 13 years old, 17 years old. They're planting it. Get the money from the man. Get the money from the man. Get the money from the man. Date up. Kiddist. How exactly does she go from Dave to Yomap's status?
Calculative.
It's a very calculated move. It's a very thought through plan.
Security.
You talk about the security. You talk about Kanye West and how he married Kim Kardashian. What happened? She just divorced him and she gets a Ben 10. Davis with this Pete Davidson. She gets Pete Davidson, and you're thinking to myself, why exactly would you get the Kanye West and then go down to Pete Davidson?
Because she's got what she wanted.
She's
Security she has. Now she can date mediocre. It's okay.
She's getting
it's okay.
For fun.
For fun, yeah.
fun.
No, let me test what this will test like.
She's getting $200,000 per month. $200,000 per month in alimony from Kanye West for child support of all his 4 kids. This is telling us that the mindset of the women is that get as much money from the men, and there is no lasting long-term relationship because there's no love.
As you blame the guys in this story, because look, all these guys who are growing with the sense of they do not understand their value in the relationship to the point where the woman wakes up, the girl wakes up very early in the game where she realizes to say she's got value and she overuses her power. If you look at the scenario, remember at the party where we invited a girl and she's like, are you going to come and pick me up as well? You know, I just invited you to a party where you're going to have fun. You didn't have anything to do at home. Yes. I'm offering you fun, food, drinks, and
an apartment.
An apartment, very luxurious. And she said, are you going to pick me up and drop me on top of that?
Drop me off.
You know, the entitlement feel starts from simp guys that she has dealt with. She's coming up with this thought of, you know, all I have to do is bring myself on the table and that's enough. And they have to provide shit for my presence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they have to pay for my presence.
If a bunch of men all over our lifespan have, you know, accepted her terms and conditions to say, okay, yeah, we're going to work with you, those terms and conditions. She goes to another guy, yeah, I'm going to work with you, those terms and conditions. How do you expect her to now value the relationship of you being in marriage? She'll quickly go like, I'm not feeling it, you're not giving me, apart from the money, I better just get your money and leave out of the relationship. Yeah. Why? Because the man is, firstly, not creative enough to keep the woman to stay. Because you know how it is to make that woman love you? It becomes even a more trophy to you. It's a win. It's a more win. Now, it takes skill. Jerry, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Game. You know what I'm talking about. It takes skill. It takes game. You knowing yourself, being sure in situations where she's doubting. Yeah. You know what I mean? Assure her to say, look, it's going to work out and I'm doing my best to make this work. Make it more adventurous by being, you know, all these layers. But we see a man who's now has the money, the wealth, and is lazy to do things. All he thinks is, I just have to open my wallet, give her money, she'll stop nagging. Shortcut. You see, and he would expect to go and have fun with maybe a younger girl as well. So it contributes to the problem, you know what I mean? But what if you work on yourself to the level where you're so interesting to the level where this girl cannot leave? Now, chances are she'll still leave, whether be it interesting. If in the first place she had a gimmick to say, look, I'm just going to come in like Mr. Jerry said, where she's just programmed to say, I'm going to come in, get the money, leave. Eventually, there's nothing you can do to make her. But believe me, she'll move around the circle and still want to come back. And that's a gain for you. Because when she comes back, you're going to be like, hell no. I'm not going to tolerate you coming back as if I'm the second option. You know what I mean? Go back to your boys, you know what I mean? After she has known the value of you. So I think even the men themselves need to work hard on working on themselves, like put it on silence or something. So work on themselves to the point where they reach the stage where they're more confident enough to carry themselves even without the woman.
Now, you know, here's the problem with what we've discovered, Malo. The goal is to have a long-term relationship. I want to be with you till death do us part. I want to have my children, my grandchildren with you. The condition is that for me to have this guarantee, I have to put a ring on your finger. We as men take the biggest risk. We take a financial risk getting married. The only risk women take is an emotional risk. Have I married the guy who I love, or have I married the guy who I've not loved?
Security again. They will not think about love at that point. Is this man able to provide? Is this man able to take care of my kids if we have children? Is he going to take them to school?
And you know,
those are the things that they're going to think about it. And if you look at it in context, it's logical.
No, Malo, it's not logical.
Think about it.
Malo, do you know the reason why I say it's not logical? I will say our dispensation has become the easiest dispensation to live. The caveman days was the most difficult days for men to live. And it was difficult for a woman to live independent of a man during those days. But now a woman can live independent. They're feminists. They can have their own job. They can, in fact, they can earn even more than a man. They can provide, protect, and maybe defend through the police, but not a man on the vice versa, a man. For a man, you need more than your money. You need to make her fall in love with you for her to stay with you for the long
Yeah,
run.
if it's long term, yes.
You need more than
You
money.
convince her to say, okay,
Because-
stay with me.
You know, a woman can see from a distance that this man is only using his money to buy into my emotions.
Yeah, and
she can
she'll
tell.
either accept it and just say, I'm going to use you for money, or just say, you know what, maybe I'm not for that.
And they can smell it. Women have this subconscious idea that, this guy ni blesser, uyu ni benten, uyu ni boyfriend. They can smell it. And here's the problem that I discovered. Once she has classified you in a certain place, for you to get out, you have to cut an arm and a limb from it. I believe if there's a way we could strike a balance, that women will love us for who we are and what we provide, irrespective of whether we provide money, status, or nothing. They will be by our sides until we're 60. If they can guarantee us that, I promise you the marriage rates will skyrocket in Zambia. The marriage rates will skyrocket in America. The marriage rate will skyrocket across the world. But because there is an uncertainty that women provide where marriage is concerned, we will not marry these women. In fact, we will use them. In fact, we will have sex with them and give them children, and we'll never marry them. Until they grow old, none of the women will get married because of these things. It's a very ugly situation.
It's an ugly, but, well, I wouldn't say that it's factual. There's some truth in what you said and whatnot. I still go back on the same statement that I say to say. You say it's a double thing. If you like the woman enough to the point where you want to make it work, make it clear, make it known to her to say, look, these certain things, there are boundaries here. As of much as you have terms and conditions, I have terms and conditions. I know of men who are afraid of raising terms and conditions because they're afraid she's going to leave me. The moment I tell her to say, look, I'm not going to give you because you're not giving back what I'm giving you, they're afraid she might leave. So they'll just be like, no, maybe don't know. You know what I mean? They don't know. They don't have the confidence to actually say no. I cannot manage to take you to Livingstone this week because I don't have enough funds. They're like, if I don't take her to Livingstone, Jerry has the more money than me. He's going to probably take her. I believe if you can learn the art to work on yourself by being honest with yourself to the point where, how many times, Jerry, have you said, you know what, no, I'm not going to pay for your bus fare, but still she makes it to the debt. How many times?
It's happened this year. It's happened twice.
Exactly. So not so many times, but it has happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's happened twice.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: once you set a boundary within yourself and say, if you violate the boundary, I'm willing to cut you off. I am willing to walk away. That is a day that you have respect from both her and yourself. You have self-respect.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to say is, look, just that statement you said alone gives you to say sometimes women want assurance, and a lot of men are unable. Now, a lot of men right now who are having identity crisis are able to provide that, assurance to say, look, yes, even when I'm not sure, I'm certain to say it's gonna work. You know what I mean? So it's like, is it gonna work? And you're like, I don't know. Yeah. And so she wait, let me jump off the ship before it sinks.
Yeah.
And she ran because it's in her nature to seek for security. So if the boat is sinking here, she'll jump on Roy's ship, which is floating, which is a float. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Malo, I think this is the reason why we've lost respect for the women in our society, because they're changing ship anytime.
Exactly. You are thinking like a woman. Sorry to say it, but right now you're thinking like a woman. Fair.
But you know the reason why? Because Malo, imagine I have this girl who I'm allegedly I'm supposedly dating, and then she's pregnant. Well, I know who the father is.
DNA. DNA can tell you.
I mean, before the DNA, of course. Will I even know who who didn't determine paternity of the child if she's a loose woman who moves from one place to another because she finds this other guy has got better stability on this, maybe more financially stable than I am.
In the first place, the fact that she doesn't have stability in her movements is because of your uncertainty. That's what I'm trying to say.
My uncertainty.
Yes, if you have that certain character, it's very easy. I believe it minimizes the chances of her leaving.
Malo.
Not that she cannot leave, Mr. Jerry. Get me right. It minimizes the chances of her leaving because in the first place, you present yourself to be this alpha who's able to take care of her come rain, come sunshine. But one thing that we can never take away from a person, a human being, is free will. Even after giving them everything, chances are they will leave you. You know what I mean? Yeah. That fact goes all six. Because even God gives us everything, He'll give us everything, but we still choose to betray Him. We'll eat that food. You know what I mean? We still choose to try and test the other. Yeah. Like, you remember the story that happened on media where this woman actually was caught cheating with her, her pastor?
Martha.
Yeah, Martha, that woman that trended. Did you see the house they were in? Yeah. And allegedly, that was their matrimonial house. Did you see the bedroom? Just the bedroom itself, man.
The bed itself.
It had everything. It was, you could tell to say the parindalama.
Yeah, it's kind of finished 15 pin bed, guy.
15 what? Bed got last time.
Because the 15 is talking about
it was for the table.
Yes, just the table.
For a table.
Yeah. The mattress was 10,000.
10,000 was on the table, man. We're talking about 80K, just a bed.
Just a bed.
And you saw the situation where she still cheated on him on their matrimonial bed. Sometimes it's all about the adventure, you know what I mean? I'm not getting enough adventure. I've got the security, the man loves you and everything, but the adventure is not enough. So when a loose man comes and offers that excitement,
what do you mean loose man?
A loose man who's available to offer her excitement. The woman excitement. She's gonna
loose man. I think a woman is loose.
No, what I mean is when that man who introduces himself in this sequence of two people who are already bonded, so he's a loose man in this, right? Because he already knows to say this woman is taken, but he just comes dangling to say, I can offer you fun. You know what I mean? What she's hearing is not maybe what the man pitched to say, I'm going to bring security. There's one who's bringing... Maybe she didn't hear that. All she heard was, fun and stuff like that. Maybe that's all she heard. Maybe the man, I don't know how they are in their relationship, but my best bet is maybe she was just looking for that adventure. Hence, she went for this pastor who was offering a little bit of, you know what I mean? And it offered that excitement that the relationship was lacking. So what I'm saying is, us men as well have some work on ourselves. Let's make ourselves more interesting and make ourselves high-value men just for the money, not just the money, but the intellect as well. Let's be sharp. Bring solutions to the table. Bring ideas to the table. We're going to do this. Yes, it's going to work. I'm not sure, but believe me, the girl's she's going to be all excited every time to say,
Yeah, it's exactly. It's like the way politicians do to us.
Yeah.
It's like they always come and they always try and give you this clear picture of where they're taking you. It's like... I'm taking you this side, but to Botella, like okay, that's not me. That's not me. That goes to Malo. That goes to Malo. That goes to Malo. All right, Mr. Jerry. Okay. Jerry, this guy needs to be cut. Older. Yeah. To the conclusion of it. Okay, let me just base because I'm glad that you even mentioned things about the character, what are the values. Okay, I was avoiding to talk about all that because this was going to lead to another topic, now it's going to be huge. But just try to be precise as much as I can, or just try to be plain and simple. It's like in the long run, when you over this kind of where love and money, there needs to be a proper balance, and it's not only for our listeners. It's not the only thing that really makes the balance of a relationship. There's still a lot of things involved. Just like you are going overboard, like the character and everything just needs to be put for you to keep one partner. Where there needs to be fun. it's a lot of things that involved. That's the reason why I put it. It's like a chain. So it's like the other part is cut. It affect everything somehow, somewhere. All right. So the conclusion of it needs to be. There's a lot that's need to be put for us to be in a healthy relationship. Okay. There's a lot to be involved. Everybody, to our listeners, need to stay tuned to this because we'll be taking down each one at a time. So I think on this one about love and money, I think there needs to be a balance. That's my conclusion.
My conclusion remark is to encourage each and every man who's unsure right now, thinking to say, am I ever going to score a girl in my career? Should I settle? Don't settle. Always be that sure man, sharpshooter. Work on yourself. Learn to love yourself and accept yourself before anyone can accept you. Nobody's going to accept you first. You have to do that first. Accept yourself and everybody else will believe you. You know what I mean?
Imagine Fitty rejecting me.
Exactly. People make you doubt about your character, but you need to punch through the wall and move on like you're a champ. Every time someone tells you no, say yes and move on. And that's all I can say. Next time we're going to talk about more topics, and keep on following and liking our program and give us more suggestions what we should talk about. And Mr. Jerry, we'll pick it up from there.
All right, thank you very much for staying tuned. This is the M&J Podcast. Catch us every Friday at 19 hours on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Thank you very much for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Peace.